Hello students, welcome to EPG Patashala. I am Dr. K.R. Ramamohan, Associate Professor and Head Department of Anthropology, Sikkim University. Today we are going to talk a module on basis of social structure and the life cycle in India. This module comes from the paper Indian Anthropology. Before we go this module, let us see what are the learning outcomes. To understand the social structure of Indian society, to understand the reasons and basis for modern Indian social structure, to understand life cycles of Indians in ancient India, to understand variance in the family and marriage system in India. If we understand the India's social structure, which gives us how people organize themselves basing on the fundamental social structure or the Hindu social structure. We all know that India comprises different social groups. Leaving the scheduled tribes, how the Hindu society with its age-old caste system has organized and which based a social structure. And Hindu social structure is basically operated on the caste system. Like any social structure in the world, the typical characteristic feature of Hindu Indian society is based on a caste system, which people are placed in this given social order. So what is this caste system? Caste system is basically social in nature, but the caste system dictates the economic pursuits, the ideological thinking, and how people are placed in different levels in a given society. So understanding what is caste, caste is a collection of families bearing a common name. Every caste has its own name. People belong to one particular caste, this caste, the A, caste B, caste C, caste C. And this group of people belonging to one caste group, they might have one common descent. They all come from one common descent. They must also have a mythical ancestor, that we all belong to that ancestor, that we are the descendants of a person of so and so. We are the people of this person, we are people of that person. It could be human or divine. One caste group may say that we are the sons of suns, or we are the sons of ocean, or we are the sons of particular god. And the same group of people, they profess one particular occupation. So Indian social structure, people are identified by their caste, and this caste identities gives them a particular occupation. Like people practice or do an occupation in carpentry, become a barber or a blacksmith or a tradesman, a peasant, a pastoral. These are all based on the hereditary calling by these caste groups. And these are regarded as competent to give an opinion as which are forming as a single homogeneous community. Let us also look into how the social tribes or the scheduled tribes are organized, which are completely different from the Hindu caste groups. So at one level we have the tribal societies, the traditional tribal societies, which are distinct from the Hindu caste groups. So in that sense, there are numerous tribal groups in India, and each tribe is distinct from other tribe. And these tribes are spread across all parts of India. So let us understand what is a tribe. Being understood, what is a caste? A tribe is a collection of families bearing a common name. A tribe may speak a common dialect. They occupy a profession and a common territory. So tribal groups in India are identified with a common territory, whereas caste groups are not identified with a common territory. And sometimes some tribes may be endogamous, but basically they are also endogamous. So according to the Imperial Gazetteer of India has defined that these are the qualities when we say it is a tribe. Now, how does this Indian social structure has come into, and how does it has put in operation from centuries? If you look at the origin of Varna and caste and how it has influenced the ancient Indian society, even today, how does a caste function at a local level, at a micro level, and at a macro level? So caste is basically a system where people are placed in a hierarchical manner. The educated elite, the section of the people considered to be sacred and pure, those who can recite the text are at the top of the section of the people are called the Brahmins, followed by a group called Kshatriyas. These people are considered to be warriors protecting the state, the kings, and other men who are safeguarding the territories. And again, this another group people are engaged in trade, or the Vaishyas, and the rest of the people are Shudras, who are the working class. And within the Shudras, some sections of the people are considered to be polluted because of their occupation, are placed under the lowest rung of this pyramid, is called the untouchables. So according to Nadeem Hasnain, the features of caste system are that the system is hierarchically ranked. In this system, it is a closed social group. Any caste group which is given by birth, one cannot alter his caste. A Brahmin cannot change his caste into some other caste, or some other caste cannot change his caste identity to in another caste or privileged caste. And another important feature of caste is endogamous. People marry within their own caste groups. You are not allowed to marry the other groups, hence it becomes endogamous. It perpetuates through this endogamous phenomena. And the membership is automatically given. You no need to acquire. If you are born in a particular caste, means you will die in that particular caste. So one cannot change this caste membership. And restriction of caste members between the other caste is restricted. One cannot interact freely and the relations are restricted between the caste groups. Hence, social mobility among the caste group is theoretically impossible, meaning that one cannot change their caste identities. Going back to the origin of the Varna system, which basically gives this functions of caste. So caste dictates what kind of occupations people do. A Brahmin considered to be ritually pure takes up the job of intermediary between man and God, where no other caste member can take this occupation because other caste groups are considered as ritually polluted. Similarly, each caste, it could be a service caste doing different occupations, manual, production. Because it is following endogamy, one cannot escape this caste structure. A man who was born in a service caste group cannot become a Brahmin. Hence, the caste system dictates all the socio-economic relations and aspects within the groups. But if you look at modern India, the caste system has gone considerable changes. And today we could see there was some mobility among certain caste members in terms of economic status. So, how this mobility has taken place? When someone is placed in this hierarchical social order, what made the changes to become someone to change their caste status? So, one need to understand what are the social changes that have influenced the social stratification in Indian society. According to M. N. Srinivas, the lower caste groups in some parts of India have started to imitate to become like upper caste groups by trying to come out of their occupation, or changes have taken place in their occupation by imitating what is ritually pure by the privileged upper caste like Brahmins or the entrepreneur caste. For example, wearing a sacred thread, changing their dietary habits, changing their lifestyle, meaning that they want to move out the low social status to an upper social status. This has done deliberately to improve their status in the given social structure. This has been deliberate by the members of the community who do not want to get perceived and get this tag of low social status, because it is dehumanizing. It is not carrying any value to human dignity. To elevate this human dignity, they're consciously attempted to bring certain changes in the social practices by imitating by other privileged castes within that area. Another significant process which have also altered many socio-economic changes is the process of westernization, where under the influence of British, where British government has influenced various socio-economic aspects in Indian society, there could be some changes in the socio-economic status by getting jobs, by receiving formal education, Western education, by imitating the Western modes of life. So there is a social change in terms of not strictly following to the rigid caste structure, but following to the norms and values of the so-called Western world. Changes in language, changes in dress pattern, changes in the way people live could be understood within the gambit of Westernization. Understanding the various process of social changes, we could witness there is a transition of social stratification and culture among many social groups in India. For example, in the typical Hindu social structure, women were not allowed to receive formal education. Women were not allowed to get into services and jobs. Today we look at how there is a transition of women which could foray into man's world. This is a significant change where the caste systems as becoming could not put grip on controlling women's lives. And we could see a mobility in the occupation where a lower caste person who are supposed to do a manual job with his sincere efforts at individual merit can choose any occupation in Indian society. The ability and the strength of individual efforts with formal education can prove and change, alter one's occupational status. So the typical Indian social structure is taking its form in different ways. We could see the changes at family level, at community level. This census also changes in the socio-economic relations between caste groups. Now, how this social structure of Hindu society have come into existence? This has a base of the ancient Hindu model of that an individual has to necessarily follow certain guiding principles in his life cycle, which are based on the Vedic understanding and the four principles that one has to conduct his life cycle are the dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. It has been prescribed that one has to follow his duties, meaning that given a caste-based occupation, one has to do his own dharma. You need not question that. With that, you can acquire little wealth, and one can follow the individual desires in the form of reproduction, and one can attain moksha by following a religious path. So this was the basic and ideal given by the ancient Hindu system to all the individuals, that it is socially acceptable that one has to follow these life cycles at each and every stage. And only then the meaning of life is accomplished. If any one of these attributes an individual did not seek, his life becomes incomplete. So this kind of model which dictates individual life, which is there for a long period of time, people carry this kind of a model and gives this is the whole meaning and purpose of life. Indian social structure, which has its roots in the caste system, in the Varna system, and these ideals have been followed with the four dharmas that one should follow, has been objectively seen the kind of family structure Indian society has. An anthropological definition of family, which comprises that a man and a woman set up a family through a socially acceptable practice called marriage, where the society dictates that this is a legitimate process to start a family, and in the typical Hindu social structure, family becomes a primary unit. It is also understood a family has many functions to perform. Individuals in a given set of family has certain obligations. A family has a role to shape the future individuals according to the customs and norms which are prevailing in a given society. A family plays an important role in bringing out the individuals in tune with the larger social structure of the society. So typically, a family also facilitates the individuals many needs of individuals. The biological need, the spiritual need. Family becomes recreational need. Family gives an identity. In a sense, the functions of family had a significant role to play in any given society. So taking the role of family, we need to also understand the types of families, particularly in Indian society. Indian society is famous for the joint family system. A joint family system where the structure prevails, the head of the family and all his children and their families live together. It has many advantages than some disadvantages. Joint family system operates at many levels. It fulfills the economic needs of the people. It gives a security to the people. Joint family system becomes a watchdog, a surveillance model to check each individual's member's behavior. It is like a form of social control over the family members. Joint family system also acts as a buffer not to derail the psychological breakup of individual members, because the elder members are in constant touch with the younger ones. They have a bigger role to protect the psychological needs of the younger generation. Division of labor is clearly spelled out in a joint family system. Property rights are taken care in a joint family system. Economic security is given in a joint family system. And individual members are in a safe environment where, because due to the complexity of the family size, there is less trouble from the outside. Let us see what are the disadvantages of this joint family system. It is often criticized that individual liberty, individual growth, and individual mobility is highly restricted in a joint family system, because all the decision making, all the control is being in the hands of the head of the family, and it is often criticized that joint family is run by a male head, hence it is a patriarchal social structure. And more so when it comes to the position of women, which is being highly restricted, and women are seen as only attending either their family economic pursuits or taking care the needs of members of the family. Marriages are being taken place within this kind of structural features of joint family system. Hence, a joint family system is basically expanding due to its economic reasons and economic pursuits, particularly in agricultural setup. The more number of family members are there, the more number of hands are there in this family, which is not there in a nuclear family, which is typical or devoid of all these members. Hence, we could see there is a change of joint family system to nuclear family system due to various socio-economic changes have taken place over a period of time. And both joint family and nuclear families are being set up through the process of monogamous marriages, where the principle of one man, one woman relationship. But today, if you look at the changes that are taking place, even the marriage pattern in various sections of the society, the Hindu social structure typically provides sanctions, legal sanctions to individual members within the family structure. And there are some sections in the society, some tribal societies and some traditional groups who practice both polygynous marriages and polyandrous marriages, where a man can have one or more wives in a polygynous marriage. It could be lead to polygynous families. In the case of Islam, Islamic practices, and in certain tribes, like in Todas, Kasi, we can see the existence of polyandrous marriages where a woman can marry one or more men, or there is a system of marriage called the levirate marriage and the sororate marriages, where the husband can get automatically the deceased wife's sister, or in a levirate, the wife can take on or get married to the deceased husband's younger brother. So these kinds of practices are there in a Hindu social structure. This has been spelled out in many traditional communities in India. And we could also see some form of extended families where, apart from the husband and wife, father and mother and children, there could be an extension of their parents. This is formed according to the convenience. Understanding the various forms of marriage which leads to family size, we also need to understand how does the families live after the marriage. Here, we could understand that marriages are performed according to the customs prevailing in many cultures. Whether a marriage is a preferential marriage or a prescribed marriage, whether the marriage is followed a cross cousin marriage or a parallel cousin marriage. And in many societies in India, the mother's brother is considered to be very important. He has a functional role in many life cycle rituals. Mother's brother's daughter is considered to be preferred because he has a larger role to play. This forms under the cross-cousin marriage. If you look at the whole Dravidian system, it is the mother's brothers' cross-cousin marriages are in practice. Hence, it indicates that the marriage alliances and the social distance which we calculate are based on the rules prescribed for marriage and the practice of that one should not marry the parallel cousins, which are considered to be blood relatives. Why this arrangement is there in the Hindu social order is an important feature for anthropological studies. And within the given family, each relationships are placed with different kinship systems. Kinship systems are being followed and the terminology is being divided according to what kind of family system we have. Now, once the individuals got married, where do they live? So, the residence of the newly married couple depends upon within the social structure. If it is a patrilocal, you stays with the male, the husband's natal home. If it is a matrilocal residence, the newlywed couple should stay with the girl's mother's residence or girl's mother's sister's residence, which is practiced in Kasi and Garo, and the succession is also through matrilineal. And nowadays there are some communities we see the bilocal or neolocal, which means that it is entirely in a new place, neither with the bride side or nor with the groom side. So Hindu social structure prescribes that because it is of its patriarchal nature, it is the duty of the bride to stay with the husband's family. Because Hindu social structure is predominantly patriarchal. But for anthropologists, we should know that how other communities are also practicing these rules of residence. Avani local, which prescribes that we have to stay with the mother's, brother's, uncle's residence. Now, being understood that how Indian ancient Hindu social structure has a base which has given the rigid social system through caste practices, and people are placed hierarchically in this caste system where the caste has been sanctioned or been with the kind of occupation that people practice, whether it is ritually pure occupation or it is ritually polluted occupation, in a sense that caste prescribe your occupation, caste prescribe your location, caste prescribe your interaction with other communities, and how this caste is perpetuating from one generation to another generation. Caste is perpetuating from generations, it is through the endogamous marriages. People marry their own caste people, hence caste is perpetuated. The new generation are being again brought up by the same caste people, and again the same caste people, again the same caste people. So this is the perpetuating mechanism of caste system in India. And it is also believed that women are responsible for this perpetuation of caste system in India. Without women, caste cannot move forward. We need to get inside the role of women in the caste system. Women were taken only within the caste system because it is considered whether it is ritually polluted or ritually sacred. Hence, women play a significant role in perpetuating the caste system in India. And caste system also clearly cuts the division of labor. It is not through the individual merit, but it is because of your caste, people do different occupations. A Brahmin becomes Brahmin, he cannot change his job, which has been in a practice from ancient India until now. And an artisan caste man cannot change his occupation. A ritually polluting or the manual laborer will remain manual laborer because of this social stratification. And caste system also been percolated to how the family structure, the marriage rules, the kinship patterns. Being understood that Hindu joint family system advantages has been slowly transformed into a nuclear family because of the series of socio-economic changes taking place in the Indian society. This has been due to urbanization, this has been due to westernization, this has been due to social mobility. Hence, the range of family systems have been breakdown from joint family system to nuclear family system. So we need to understand how, at a structural level, though caste system is there, but what are the social agencies and forces have changed the individual to move up the social mobility, particularly in terms of occupation. So today we don't see any relation between the kind of caste that one carries and the kind of job one is doing. It is based on the individual merit. Hence, one could see, understand in the light of these socio-economic changes and how the social structure is being arranged in the contemporary India.